Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Federation's Most Wanted, a Blake 7 podcast. I'm the Preacher 711, and I'm here to seek, locate, and interview Blake 7 fans from across the community. And today we're going in a bit of a different direction than the past ones because we're going to launch into a Big Finish special. We're going to start talking about what were those great Big Finish episodes for everybody, why do we love them, and we're going to be asking our friends out there their top 3 faves. Today, I'm joined by old friend of the podcast, podcaster extraordinary himself from Maximum Power. It's Si Hart. Si, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good to be back. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you back, sir. How's things going on the Maximum Power front, sir? Anything you can tell us a little before we launch?
Yeah, we are getting to the end of Series C. So we've got our last 2 episodes to record this weekend before we do our retrospective in a couple of weeks. Then we'll start editing them. And then hopefully it won't be too much longer after that before they're out. So yeah, we're really excited. There's been some great episodes.
It's going to be great. Series C, mate. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I know.
So looking forward to this. And, if you haven't checked out Maximum Power before, I mean, it's just my favourite. It's brilliant. It just got better and better. Series B, you guys were having such a good time. The retrospective at the end was worth its weight in black gold. It was brilliant. So 1,000 thank yous for all you guys do on that. But today, mate, Big Finish. So question one, when did you first join in the Big Finish race? Were you there at the beginning when they launched the first of the Liberator Chronicles? When did you get into it?
Absolutely. I was there from the beginning of when they launched their Doctor Who range. So, because I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. So I've been there since 1999. And I always thought, wouldn't it be great if they could do some Blake 7? And it was one of those great, it'll never happen. And then suddenly we got this announcement that they were coming. And I was so excited because Doctor Who had gone so well for Big Finish and they'd done so many good things. I just thought, I can't wait to see what they get their hands on with this show. And once their writers have got it, it's going to be brilliant. And so, yeah, I was there right from the start.
Brilliant. Did you also have the Rebellion Reborn ones as well that Beta Media did and published for Big Finish? Did you do those?
I heard a few of those, but I was not a fan. I have to say, it's not my Blake 7. It was fine, but there were lots of things that I thought, this doesn't feel right to me. I didn't like the fact that it was set when the bits were on Earth, that it was set in places that you knew. I always quite liked that the dome, you didn't quite ever know where it was or what it was. It was just there. And this was something I didn't like very much in Paul Cornell's book, where suddenly with his novelization recently of The Way Back, where he's suddenly revealing that the great big bunker is Waterloo Station. And I just think it's so reductive. And actually, I quite like that it's all faceless and unnamed and all of that is lost. And we're just in great big cities across the world.
Yeah, I'd always imagined it was rubble. I'd always imagined, they were all gone.
Exactly. And they just
later.
Rebuilt it. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Built over the top of it.
But when you've got the Rebellion Reborn with stories set in Luton, it's just not Blake 7. It really isn't. And the casting was great and things like that. But I think it just didn't quite settle for me.
But we're going to talk about what 3 Big Finish things did settle for you. What 3 Big Finish things set Si Hart's world on fire? Tell us, Si, what are the 3?
So, number 1 is Warship.
Ooh.
My second choice was 3 by James Goss, which was one of the Liberator Chronicles.
Yeah.
And my fourth choice. I don't know where my fourth choice came from there. I can't count, obviously. I'm having a Villa moment. I should count on my fingers. And my third choice is another Liberator Chronicle, the Armageddon Storm.
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. Well, let's kick off. Let's talk a bit about Warship then. So, January 13, Peter Angelidis kicks us off with the first of the full cast audios. Why'd you love it, Si? Tell me about it.
I love it because it is absolutely what happened between Star One and Aftermath. It is so pitch perfect and absolutely fills that gap beautifully in a way I didn't expect it to. when it starts off and you've got the quiet, reflective Blake, and I was thinking, well, what's this? Where's this? Obviously, Blake's injured. Where is this actually set? And then suddenly, Callie turns up, and then she's being called back to the flight deck so that we can do the cliffhanger reprise of Star One. And then I thought, oh, this is where we are. Oh, right. Okay, I get it now. And I did not expect them to be sort of pitch perfectly recreating that cliffhanger. And bang, we're hearing everyone together for the first time. We're bang into the theme tune, and it felt like an episode of Blake 7 that I've never seen, but I could absolutely visualize. And what I really loved about the writing of it was everyone got something to do.
Yeah.
Everyone got a hero moment, almost as if they say, look, we might only get to do this once with everyone together, so let's enjoy it. Villa gets to be comical and let the limpet mines into the ship.
Yeah.
Jenna gets her old smuggling trick. Callie gets to go down to the planet with Blake, who's injured and gets to redeem himself after his actions in Star One a bit. Darrow just holds the whole thing together on the Liberator, being wonderful and absolutely taking control of the show and the ship. It's a magnificent achievement, and I think of all the things Big Finish have done, this is A, the thing that I've heard most, and B, the thing that I love the most that they've done.
Yeah. It is like you say, for all the reasons you said, sir, it is a work of beauty, and it was it so easily could have been filler. It could have just been,
absolutely.
We've got these two bits and we need to wedge an episode in between them
to
fill that gap that everybody always talks about. And it could have been so slapdash. And I remember thinking when they announced our warship and it's going to be sitting here, that creeping dread feeling of, is it going to be?
Going to work?
Yeah. But like you say, pretty much from the word go, you realize it wasn't. This was something.
Yeah.
Special.
And then you sort of get near the end and suddenly you're Zen's saying the lines that he has at the start of Aftermath, and you think, oh my god, we're getting to the end of this now. And
yeah, and it was definitely that seamless join up at the end. I love the fact that we actually had Blake being put in the capsule and talking to Jenna and all of that.
And it was really lovely that we got to see what happened to them, because we know what happened to Avon and Callie and Villa, because we followed that, but we never saw Blake leave the ship with Jenna, and just Gareth Thomas at the end saying, rightly, no, I'm coming back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it just felt absolutely perfect.
Yeah, and it was also one of those ones where they then tied this in with the later Liberator Chronicles one, the Blake story, where they reprised that bit from the end of Warship at the start of that. And I just thought it's an example for me of Big Finish at their best when they join their own stuff together that also joins the primary continuity. That's when they're at the best.
Warship was originally part of that box.
Yeah.
So, and it was a Liberator Chronicle, and then sort of as they were writing it, they realized, well, we could just about do it. It's only the regular cast that we need, so we could probably, if we've got just enough money just to tweak this, we can make this a full cast one, and then off they go. So
it's also another brilliant one from like just a pure production point of view. There's bits in it that are of such a high quality, you definitely get sucked into it. That when they go down to the planet and Blake and Callie, the bit I remember is them going down that long ladder down into this
and you could hear them on the rungs.
Yeah, but I don't know about you, but in my mind, I could see them so clearly in their sort of surface suits, Blake in his green, going down the ladder,
it's like
interior.
the climbing down the ladder in Terminal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And all of that, and
it struck a familiar chord, all of the imagery.
Which is why it felt authentic.
Yeah.
And of course, you can do great big battles in space, of course, as well, because you don't have to have the models. And you can just visualize it, and it's just cheap and lots of explosions. And I
loved as well the little thing Peter Andrews threw in with the whole, some of the alien ships getting away from the battle slipping
Yes.
through, because I thought, right, that now makes sense of Volcano and all the other bits. And of course, more recently, they've also tapped into it in the After the War set with,
Yes.
what happened to some of those ships that got through. So again, it was one of those like slow clap Avon gift moments, where you go, oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Oh, you've basically just, fixed the Death Star plot hole in one smooth move. You didn't need a whole Rogue One to do it. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it.
And it's just lovely that we've got just enough sort of tie-in with Star One as well, with the ships coming from Palmero and all the planets and Morphenial and all those planets that are mentioned within sort of Aftermath, Power Play, and Star One. So it's just like they're all the ones that are in the vicinity.
Yeah.
So it all just feels absolutely right. And of course, in the last 10 minutes, Servalan just swans in for a bit of a cameo as well. Because and I didn't know she was coming. So that first time I heard that, it was just, because I very carefully didn't read anything about it. So I tried to sort of keep that one sort of as a special one. So of course, yeah. And so it just felt absolutely complete.
I was going to ask you before, out of 5 Golden Liberators, how many are you giving this one? But it sounds
12.
like that's a bit of a sounds like a bit of a daft question now in hindsight. My scoring system sounds pretty pointless.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Well, I think that's top marks for me.
Mark. Wow. Okay. Right. We're starting off strong. Where are we going next, buddy? What's next?
Well, next we're going into a very dark place indeed. And speaking of Servalan, we're going for a solo Servalan story. And I cannot remember, and I forgot to do my research before I did this. Which Liberator Chronicle set it's in?
5.
I think it's fairly early on, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's certainly after the Armageddon storm.
I'm going to cheat because, like, using the power of yes, volume 5. There we go.
Well, there we go. Look at that.
Oof, there you go. Yeah, there we go. Volume 5. So again, 2013. What a year 2013 was.
Yeah, obviously. What? Yeah, because bizarrely, all my choices are from 2013.
Yeah, but there really was, as I remember. I mean, I don't remember all the dates, but it really did feel like there was a
confidence that year.
We were eating out on Blake 7 that year, weren't we? We were dining hard, and it was one of those ones I think where afterwards there was a bit of a lull, and you felt bad for having gorged yourself on this feast. Can't tell me about 3, Si. Come on, why?
3 is just chilling. It is a solo, it's a solo regular piece for Servalan. And one of the things that I always felt Blake 7 could have done on TV was a story from the perspective of the Federation that obviously they never did, because most of the regulars are our crew on the Liberator or Scorpio. So for just a story that's just got Servalan in absolute control, being interviewed by a journalist. And so it starts off, it's a very season 2 Servalan, I think. She's very cool, precise. She could turn on the charm, but there's that underlying hint that things are not quite as they seem, and that she has outmaneuvered everyone around her because she is so much cleverer than everyone else. And it goes from being almost funny and lovely at times to a truly dark and horrible end that is that I think pushes what Blake 7 can do further than I expected.
Yeah.
And it's just, I sit there. I remember listening to, I was in the car, and I was going to pick up someone from Gatwick Airport, and fortunately I sort of listened to it on the way and had 20 minutes in the car park just to think about that ending and just think, and just get over that before he arrived. It was just, wow, okay. I don't know what the answer to this is, but
and it was
what would you do?
It was one of these episodes where there was almost this thing I think in the early Liberator Chronicles where you tended to have like an amazing episode, an average one, and then a weaker, let's call it, almost not as great one. And I had this feeling when I was listening to that set that this might be kind of almost the weaker one, and when it started, I remember I was on a train. I remember also listening to this for the first time. It was like, oh, this is going to be the episode from a long-running TV show where the budget's run out for the season, and it's basically just going to be two people
A
just talking,
two-hander in a room.
two-hander, yeah,
Mhm.
in a room, and we're going to make some kind of ham-fisted effort at fleshing out Serverland a bit more. And that was the mindset I went into it with. And it kind of starts in that vein.
Yeah, it
But it's
does,
a
because it
total
doesn't seem
misdirection.
yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem anything special to begin with, which is
No.
what lulls you into a false
Yes.
sense of security.
Yeah.
And the minute she turns the tables, because you think for a while that he's got the edge on her and he's
Yes,
going to bring her
absolutely.
down, and then it turns out that she knew all the
All along.
time and
Yeah,
had
absolutely.
manufactured this, and
Yeah.
it's beautifully played by both actors, and you can see what a phenomenal actor Jacqueline Pierce is.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's like you say, it's that pivot. It's a sudden pivot. I think the writing is genius because I think it's totally set out from minute one to subvert your expectations.
Yes.
In the same, I think the way it's been written is like it lulls you into the same false sense of security as she does with Cullen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that's the genius of the writing of it. Is he goes into it arrogantly thinking he knows the lie of the land. I put my earbuds in and listen to it thinking I knew the lie of the land, and it's boom,
Exactly. And
it
neither
turns
of
on
us
you.
are as clever as
No,
Sutherland.
exactly. And I think it was the first episode of all the audios with Jacqueline Pierce where you went, or where I certainly felt she can still do this. I mean, she can absolutely nail this and do Serverland, the Serverland we remember, like you say, from like Series B. Yeah, perfectly.
Exactly. And she could take the character back to all those different
Yeah,
stages, which I wasn't
definitely.
sure she was going to. I thought
No.
we'd get the more campy,
Yeah.
Trident version from Series C and Series D very easily, but I wasn't sure we'd get the stiller
Yeah.
and more quietly steely version, the politician version of Serverland.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something I think you're dead right. I think after B, she kind of lost that. She was a military commander. She was also,
Yeah.
a political maneuverer. She had all these traits, all these talents. And by the time of sort of C, like you say, there's a bit of
She's in
humor in there.
charge.
Yeah, and it's not quite the same. But you're right. This was a total Jacqueline Pierce projecting Series B Serverland. Beautiful.
I often wondered if she was directed hard on that one and they didn't let her get away with what she would normally do. So I don't know this for sure, but I have this feeling that maybe they sort of said, "No, you need to take this down. Look, let's really work
Dial
this.
it back. Yeah.
Let's do
Yeah, great choice, mate. Great choice. And for your third and final one, you're pulling out. For me personally, a really big hitter. This is a
Absolutely. So it's the Armageddon Storm, which was a 3-part Liberator Chronicle,
Yeah.
which for the first time told a whole story.
Yeah.
And it was the first time for me where the first 2 sets had been really great and it was lovely to hear everyone, but it all felt like just another Blake 7 story. Oh, we're infiltrating another base. Oh, there's a robot that we want to capture. There's something which felt like Blake 7 by numbers, which was absolutely fine and absolutely a great way to start off with your audio productions, because you want the audience with you. So you want to show that you can do nuts and bolts Blake 7 and it's fine. And we've got the Gustav Nyron stuff, which was really interesting. And he was a great character. But for the first time with this one, I felt like they opened up how to tell a Blake 7 story. And we'd never had a Blake 7 story this long.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was, I mean, they kind of
epic.
managed to throw, epic. That's what I was reaching for. It felt, if Blake 7 was a bigger budget movie, what would it feel like? And it definitely felt like that for me. It definitely felt like this was, and they managed to almost deceive you, because when you look at like actually how many actors take part in each episode, it's like 2 per episode with them doing some fill-in voices as well, but you don't feel it at the time. That's the clever part.
No. And it's so cleverly structured because you've got people down on the planet, you've got people up on the Liberator and different things going on. and obviously the return of Del Grant
Oh,
is really great as well,
absolutely
because it's
brilliant.
lovely to hear him and
Yeah.
um hear Tom Chadburn and Paul Darrow sparring off each
Yes.
other
Oh, it's
again.
brilliant.
And there's a character with that had so much more
Yeah.
to give to Blake Seven, and obviously this then leads into the full cast audio, the first full cast audios for Series C,
Yeah.
where they bring him in full time, and
Yeah.
it's a smart move.
It is. It is. And it was, again, moving almost away from that. They could have just done filler. They could have just done, as you put
Yeah.
it, Blake Seven by the numbers. And this was a real, for me, like a real, this is what this could be moment.
Yeah.
It's an
And
epic
this is what
story.
we always thought Blake Seven could be, but
Yeah.
we'd never heard.
What about standout moments in the story for you? What really jumps out?
I remember the bit where the device is activated for the
Yes.
first time, and the creeping sense of dread, and hearing the planet being devastated. Again, the sound design was something really special.
Absolutely.
That was the moment where I was just, oh wow, listen, just listen.
Yeah, it was. I could, again. It was a. I think it's just amazing the amount of the way the audio enabled you to actually envisage what was
Hmm.
going on. You know, the sort of collapsing citadel ruins when Grant and Avon go down afterwards. You know, it felt all surreal. The raging storm you can imagine outside.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, it was amazing. And one of the things I really liked was that they then, use this later on again, in Blake's story again. Blake goes there when he's on the trail of trying to find the
Yes.
Liberator,
Hmm.
and they did it so seamlessly. It really felt like
Yes.
I was
Hmm.
back in Armageddon Storm again. I'd only just escaped
Yeah,
from
and
this
then
damn fort.
exactly, and there's sort of references to it when they do the full cast audios sort of later on. So the much
Yeah,
later series C2
yeah, yeah,
series is the Armageddon Storm is mentioned as
yeah.
an atrocity that the Federation have perpetrated, and so it has a lasting effect throughout the Blake Seven universe at this
It
point, which
does.
is
Yeah,
really amazing.
it is absolutely brilliant, and it's also one of my favorite of the covers as well. I love the green cover.
The
There's
cover
something
is
about it.
really great, isn't it?
It's really
Beautifully
great.
green.
Yeah, it was just, there's just everything about it. But also, I think I totally agree about opening the door to have Grant back. I think he was one of those characters that everybody. I remember, when he first appeared in the show, or the one time he appeared in the show.
Hmm.
Everybody loved Grant. Everyone wanted more Grant, and it just felt like Big Finish were there granting their wishes, like some sort of fairy
Yeah.
godmother. Oh, you want some Grant, do you? Bing, there you go.
Okay,
It
well, we
was
can do
great.
that. Hmm.
Yeah, it was just brilliant. It just felt like the set that kept giving, and when you got to the end, you genuinely thought that was an experience.
Yeah, and it comes to a very Blake Seven downbeat ending as well, and which is yeah, absolutely spot on.
Yeah, and Darrow's speech at the end to the Federation, his broadcast to the Federation.
Yes,
I love that.
he
And
plays that beautifully.
absolutely, it could have been so over the top, or it could have
Hmm.
not fitted in, or it could have damaged the continuity, or whatever. But it just didn't. It just worked. Again,
Hmm.
the way Mark Wright and Kevin Scott did it, it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And a real high. And for me, certainly for the Liberator Chronicles, I don't think they ever got there again. They did some good
No,
stuff, don't get me wrong, but I
they,
don't think it ever reached.
yeah, but I no, I'm with you on that. I don't think they ever quite got as high as that.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff. Oh mate,
And now I want to go back and listen to it.
yeah. I'm sitting in myself thinking, when have I got time
I'm
to
thinking
fit
I
in an
haven't listened to
Armageddon
that for a
Storm?
while. I'm thinking I probably have forgotten a lot of the details now, so it's a
Yeah.
good time to go back.
Are there many that you revisit regularly? Have you got like a
Um,
hit list of BF stuff you tend to jump back to?
it's been, to be honest, most of them I've only listened to once or twice.
Mm.
So the early ones I've heard a little bit more. So I recently listened to the Series B full cast audios because I hadn't heard those since they were new, and I just put
Wow.
on Fractures and thought,
Oh
oh
yeah,
yeah, and that nearly made my choice. I really love that one again, which is a
yeah,
nice episode that showcases the regular crew really
absolutely.
well. So so I listened to that series, but it's been a little while now since I've heard the earlier one. So I think it's a good time to go back. I mean, I
Yeah.
listen to Warship fairly regularly, unexpectedly.
Yeah.
But the others are a bit more of an unknown quantity again. So I think it's worth going back and having a listen,
Definitely.
particularly for all the voices we've lost
Yes,
since it
absolutely.
started. So
Yeah. Definitely. I've just finished it, or I'm on one episode from the end of. I did the sort of full cast end to end every
yeah,
week when I do like the gym or whatever. I've been eating away at them,
uh-huh.
and I'm right at the very end. But I've said that once I get to the end, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do Liberator Chronicles from the start because I haven't done them for a while. So this has definitely encouraged me. 1,000 thank yous for coming back and visiting us. I hope you'll come back again. We'll think of some
Oh well, of
crazy stuff,
course.
something
Yeah.
else we can
What are we
review.
doing next?
Yeah, exactly. Odds on the postcard. Thank you to everybody out there for continuing to listen and have some interest in this. We've had some great responses and great reviews. And of course, if you want to come in and talk about your top 3 Big Finish titles, reach out, send me a DM on the X, Twitter, whatever the hell it's called now. It'll probably be
It'll
called
always
something
be
else, but
Twitter.
Twitter, of course it will. Of course it will. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.